What the hell is happening over the skies in New Jersey? Good morning, Kuhner Country. Okay, my friends. What is now happening in New Jersey is the biggest story in the country, and in some ways, the biggest story in the world. And so, I don't know if many of you have been following this or not, but so here is now the absolute latest. Beginning on November 18, and that is the date now, many residents in New Jersey say they began to see these mysterious sightings, and mysterious is the word, of large, sophisticated drones with red lights, green lights, white lights, in the sky above 3 sensitive military bases in New Jersey. And these are drones that are typically not seen. These are not small drones. The way they're described by countless witnesses and with photographs that we've seen and that are being displayed everywhere, these drones, some of them are the size of a car, others the size of an SUV. So these are mother drones. They are huge drones. And according to local law enforcement, and I don't just mean one police officer, two police officers, dozens and dozens of law enforcement, local state officers have now come out and said, we have been tracking these drones in the sky over New Jersey, the Jersey Shore in particular, but other areas of New Jersey. They come from the ocean and they go back to the ocean. Something is coming from the Atlantic Ocean on the eastern seaboard. And these are unusual drones, not just because of their size. What has local residents in New Jersey very worried, frankly, many of them freaking out, is that it looks nefarious, it looks dangerous, it looks menacing. And it's not just the size of the drones. They sometimes can go as high as 15 miles. They frequently are spotted now hovering over very sensitive military sites. The most prominent one is the Picatinny Arsenal, which is one of the top Army research and weapons manufacturing facilities in the entire country. And residents are now saying it's either two possibilities. Either these are drones created by the U.S. military, which they are, and hence developed at Picatinny, and that they are secretly testing over the skies of New Jersey, or these are drones, foreign drones from foreign adversaries, whether it be Iran, whether it be China, whatever the country may be. And they are now conducting massive surveillance and spying in American airspace over very sensitive national security sites. Now, whatever it is, what is really now concerning, frankly, to many, and it's very concerning and frankly outrageous to me, state, local lawmakers and police met yesterday with the Department of Homeland Security for a briefing. Literally, I'm not kidding. They told everyone in the room, we don't know what these drones are. We don't know where they're coming from. We don't know where they're going. We don't know what their purpose or origin is. We know nothing. When pressed by at the Pentagon has now come out and said, we don't know what these drones are. We don't know where they're coming from. We don't know where they've been. We don't know who they belong to. We don't know what the purpose or mission of these drones are. We literally are in the dark as much as all of you are. Things got very heated in Congress. In front of congressional testimony, FBI officials were asked point blank, what the hell is going on in the skies over New Jersey? And the FBI echoing the Department of Defense, echoing Homeland Security, echoing the Federal Aviation Administration, echoing the Department of Justice, said, we don't know. There is a lot of drone activity. In fact, over the last couple of weeks, over 180 drone sightings. They're saying it's every night. It is a phenomenon. It goes on all night. It lasts at least 6, 7, 8 hours, and then they disappear. And when pressed by lawmakers, now I'm talking members of Congress, what's going on? Are these our drones? Are they Chinese drones? Iranian drones? Are these belong to a private company? Do they belong to Google? Do they belong to Amazon? We don't know. Where are they coming from? We don't know. Where are they going? What are they doing? We don't know. Are they spying? Is this possible surveillance? We don't know. And of course, you can launch strikes from drones. And this is where they're all saying unanimously, the entire deep state is unified in one point. They pose no imminent threat. They keep saying this over and over and over again. It poses no security threat to any American or any person living in the New Jersey area, which begs the question, how do you know? This is what lawmakers are asking. This is what local and state police are asking. This is what I'm not kidding, 150 mayors are asking. If you don't know what it is, and you don't know where it's coming or going to, how the hell do you know it's not an imminent threat? I want you to listen now. This is Republican Congressman Jeff Van Drew. He represents the Jersey Shore, where a lot of this activity has been going on now for about the last 3 weeks. He is not a bomb thrower. This is not some guy who just likes to throw out reckless allegations. He says he spoke to people high up in the government, high up within national security, and these are credible senior officials. Listen to what Congressman Jeff Van Drew says is really going on here. This is Jeff Van Drew on Fox yesterday. Roll cut 10, Mike.
Well, here's the real deal, Harris. You know, I'm also on the Transportation Committee, on the Aviation Subcommittee, and I've gotten to know people. And from very high sources, very qualified sources, very responsible sources, I'm going to tell you the real deal. Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones. That mothership is off, I'm going to tell you the deal. It's off the east coast of the United States of America. They've launched drones. It's everything that we can see or hear. And again, these are from high sources. I don't say this lightly.
So according to him, there's a mothership. And what he means by a mothership is not some giant drone that is just, spitting out these other, SUV or car drones or drones the size of a car or an SUV. He means an actual ship, an Iranian ship, which is based somewhere off of the ocean on the eastern seaboard, spying on the United States, and they're launching now these very sophisticated drones to surveil, spy on the United States, possibly planning a massive terrorist attack. So, Jeff Van Drew is saying, if these are Iranian or foreign drones, and they are conducting surveillance and spying over sensitive military sites, well, listen to Jeff Van Drew. Roll cut 10A, Mike.
Now, we know there was a probability it could have been our own government. We know it's not our own government because they would have let us know. It could have been some really glorified hobbyist or hobbyists that were doing something unbelievable. They don't have the technology. But let's pretend that's possible. The third possibility was somebody, an adversarial country, doing this. Know that Iran made a deal with China to purchase drones, motherships, and technology in order where to go forward. The sources I have are good. They can't reveal who they are because they are speaking to me in confidentiality. These drones should be shot down. Whether it was some crazy hobbyist that we can't imagine, or whether it is Iran, and I think it very possibly could be, they should be shot down. We are not getting the full deal, and the military is on alert with this.
So shoot it down. And that's frankly what many residents in New Jersey are now saying. Shoot these drones down. Now, just to add a little bit more context, and I want to take your calls right after the break, 617-266-6868. What is very disconcerting about these drones is that they're exhibiting technology that, at least in theory, we, the United States, do not have. They are able to hover in the air for 6, 7, 8 hours at a time. Most drones do not have the battery power to go that long. They are able to evade detection. They are able to evade pursuit by helicopters or other drones. Some of them literally just disappear. Once you pursue them, they're gone. So what we're dealing with here is something very sophisticated and potentially very dangerous. What do you think it is? And should we shoot it down? 620 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer, 617-266-6868. Okay, the moment we got a full board, I'm going to go right to the phone lines. So a couple lines are open. If you want to jump on, now's the time to do it. 617-266-6868 is the number. This to me is the question. There are multiple questions, but to me the big question is this. What exactly are those drones? Are they U.S. military drones? For example, Dave, our Western Pennsylvania correspondent, is convinced this is part of a CIA deep state testing operation that they have, our government secretly is developing very sophisticated, advanced, if you want to call them super drones, big, very big, can fly at a very fast speed, with all kinds of powerful lights, and then can, on a dime, disappear. Because that's what we're starting to see now with these drones that can hover and stay in the air 6, 7, 8 hours. And as many people have noticed, that's almost unusual for drones. Technically, we have nothing like that capability in our fleet. Usually the batteries go for a couple of hours, and then they got to be recharged. But to be able to be up there for 7, 8 hours, and they're hovering over very key military sites. And once they get chased by other drones or helicopters, and some police helicopters have tried to pursue them, they can't be detected, they outrun these helicopters, they're super fast, or in some cases they just disappear. They just out and out disappear. And so we're dealing with a kind of advanced technology that in theory our government doesn't have. So is it our own drones? And as some of the residents suspect, particularly from Picatinny Arsenal up in New Jersey, where it's this is where we do a lot of our Army research, facility. And so that's why they're near that Picatinny facility and base, because they're ours and we're just experimenting and testing them out. And that's why everybody is silent about it. And just is saying, on the one hand, there's no threat, nothing imminent, don't be worried. And on the other hand, though, we don't know a thing. We don't know anything. Don't ask us anything. We see nothing, we hear nothing, we know nothing. That's one theory. The other theory, as Congressman Jeff Van Drew, I played the cut, he came out and said, look, I've got high sources, senior sources, very credible, within the national security establishment who have told me this is Iranian advanced technology combined with China. They have a mothership off of the eastern seaboard, and they're sending these drones, violating our airspace, probing our defenses, and conducting, like the Chinese spy balloon that we had last year, naked surveillance and spying over our most sensitive national security military sites. shoot it down out of the sky. Now. And look, for what it's worth, and you may disagree with me, I'm just giving you my opinion. I think these are Chinese, Iranian drones, personally, who are doing to us what they did to us last year, the Chinese in particular, except now it's not a spy balloon. Now they're using very advanced drone technology. This is a humiliation, an embarrassment to the United States that we're allowing these massive drones to just hover and spy on us, violate our airspace at will, and that the Biden regime is doing absolutely nothing. Where is the Department of Defense? Nowhere. The FBI? Nowhere. The Department of Homeland Security? Nowhere. And to me, what is very suspicious is you now have countless reports from law enforcement, local, state law enforcement, media reports that these drones literally go back to the ocean and then come from the ocean. So I don't think it's coming from these military facilities. They just appear from the ocean, then they hover 7, 8, 9 hours, and then they go back to the ocean. That to me points to a mothership. I'm just giving you my honest opinion. Now, there is a third option. A third option is, again, it's a very sophisticated, wealthy private company, Google, Amazon, whatever, who maybe they are developing some of the most sophisticated drone technology in the world, and they're experimenting and trying it out. That's another reason why, I'm going to play the cut later, New Jersey Congressman says, shoot it out of the sky. And then we'll see what the hell it is. So we'll know. Is it a foreign adversary? Is it something from a private company? Hell, is it ours? Because our military is saying it's not theirs. So we'll find out what the hell this thing is. Shoot it down. The problem is local police, state police do not have the authority to shoot down a drone. It's considered a crime, like shooting down a plane. The only agencies or institutions that have the authority to shoot down a drone, FBI, Department of Defense, Department of Justice, Federal Aviation Administration. The very people that now are saying, we don't know what these drones are, what their origin is, what their purpose is. All we can tell you is, don't worry, be happy. It poses no threat. This stinks. 6:31 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer, 617-266-6868. Mike asked me off air, Jeff, do you think these are UFOs? And I go, you mean like what? Like unmanned, unidentified objects? He goes, no, like, do you think really these are space aliens? From outer space. I said, you mean like, Mike, the reason why they don't want to shoot these, drones down or whatever you want to call them, UFOs now, is because they don't want to start an intergalactic war? You start shooting down these UFOs, you're killing space aliens, and before you know it, we're at war with Mars? Is that what you're trying to tell me here, Mike? And I said, yes. Yeah, I do think they're UFOs. And I think the reason why they're UFOs is because, look, his term's about to end. Biden is a month away. They've come to reclaim Joe Biden. The truth is out there. Believe. And the government is covering it up. Joey is a space alien. And they've come to retrieve him. We want him back. 617-266-6868. No, all kidding aside, that is a theory on social media. In fact, it's everywhere. People are saying these could be UFOs, and the government doesn't know what the hell they are. And for once, they're telling us the truth. We just don't know. We're seeing this activity is not normal. What they're doing in the air is not normal. the capacity of these, unmanned, if they are unmanned objects is something we've never seen before. And maybe they're just as flabbergasted and puzzled as everybody else is. So that is a theory. And people think maybe these are UFOs. 617-266-6868. Now, very quick, because the lines are jammed. Jennifer Griffin asked Pentagon spokeswoman Sabrina Singh about these drones over in New Jersey, how many of them there are, how many have been spotted and sighted. Listen now. And is this coming from China or Iran? In other words, a foreign adversary. Listen now to the Pentagon's official response. Roll cut 8, Mike.
Can you tell me what the Pentagon is doing to address this issue of drone sightings over New Jersey? It's near sensitive installations. The FBI is involved. What is the Pentagon doing?
Sure. So at this time, aware of those drone sightings that have been reported, at this time we have no evidence that these activities are coming from a foreign entity or the work of an adversary. We're going to continue to monitor what is happening, but at no point were our installations threatened when this activity was occurring.
Okay, so in other words, they keep saying this. It's not a foreign adversary. Well, how do you know that? Well, we don't know what they are. Well, if you don't know what they are, then how do you know they're not a foreign adversary? Okay, that's point numero uno. Then, this Sabrina Singh, again, speaking on behalf of the Pentagon, comes out and says, but they're not ours. I can guarantee you they're not U.S. military drones or experimental drones or a new fleet of advanced drones or that we're testing. These aren't ours. Roll cut 8A, Mike.
Can you rule out that these are American drones or U.S. military drones?
These are not U.S. military drones. Again, this is being investigated by local law enforcement. What our initial assessment here is that these are not drones or activities coming from a foreign entity or adversary.
So they're not ours. We don't know what or who they are, but we're telling you they don't come from a foreign entity. Well, how do you know? If you don't know what they are, then how do you know? So apparently now they're telling us, no, it's not. They're not ours. These are not U.S. drones. Okay, well, if you take them at their word, well then, either it's coming from a foreign power, or it's from a private company, or they're UFOs. Hello? Am I missing something? So, she's then pressed, well, what about Congressman Jeff Van Drew, who said, hey, I spoke to people high up in national security, in the national security establishment, who said, this is from a mothership, an Iranian mothership, using the latest technology drones given to them by, as Trump would put it, China. Listen now to this. Roll cut 8B. Mike.
Representative Jeff Van Drew, who is a Republican from New Jersey, was just on the air saying that Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones, and that mothership is off the east coast of the United States. Is there any truth to that?
There is not any truth to that. There is no Iranian ship off the coast of the United States, and there's no so-called mothership launching drones towards the United States.
I don't know. I don't believe her. I'll be honest with you. I don't believe our government. They've lied to us over and over again. And we saw what Joe Biden did with the Chinese spy balloon, where they pretended it was never in the United States until people were like, there it is. It went through Alaska. It went down to the continental United States. They were hovering right over all our key military bases and nuclear installations. And first they said, no. And then, well, okay, but we got it under control. I don't believe this government. I don't believe the Biden regime. I'm giving you my honest response. I don't. What do I think it is? I think this is advanced. These are advanced Chinese or Iranian drones, probably off of the eastern seaboard. By the way, they're now being spotted in Philadelphia as well. So it's going from New Jersey all the way down the East Coast now to Philadelphia. And we're talking now hundreds and hundreds of these sightings. So something is clearly going on. Now, shoot them down. This to me is an embarrassment. This is a violation of our national sovereignty, a violation of our airspace. They are clearly probing our defenses. And they are clearly, they're always hovering for hours right near either key military facilities, research and development, or national security sites. So whether it's the Chinese spying on us or the Iranians or a joint Chinese-Iranian effort, clearly there is mass spying and surveillance going on, at least in my view. That is a major, serious national security threat. Shoot that drone out of the sky. And if it's some, private company, well, you should have told us. Too bad. You're out, whatever, $10 million. Well, you should have thought of that before you put everybody in a panic. Either way, shoot down the drone, get your hands on it, find out what it is. Agree, disagree. Let me ask you, what do you think is appearing in the sky over New Jersey? Is it ours? Is it foreign? Or is it a UFO? 617-266-6868 is the number. Rick in Medford. Thanks for holding, Rick. You're going to kick us off, and welcome.
Thank you. I'm going to be out there in the stratosphere here. I believe that they are most likely UFOs, and let me explain why. Some of the pictures that are shown in the videos, they are within like this sort of a globe, pulsates. It doesn't turn, red, white, and green. It just pulsates. And it looks like you can see something inside of it, but it's obscured. Now, the ones that actually have the lights, the navigation lights, those could be FBI and U.S. Air Force drones. But the interesting thing is when they get close to these other type of drones or whatever they are, they shoot away at fantastic speeds. Or, as you say, they go dark and you can't see them. I don't think it's Russia or China. They've been reporting the same thing, but nobody over here pays any attention to what France could be seeing it. We wouldn't pay attention, our media as it is, the mainstream media. And in Russia, an American tourist snapshot, they were out in the evening walking, and they took a snapshot of a large triangular craft that was high up, but they could still see it, and it's the same dimension and shape as a craft that was seen over a year ago over the Pentagon. Okay, so the fact that some of these things are going from 0 to hypersonic speed. If there's anybody inside of one of those, they'd be turned into a jelly. I'm not saying there's little green men inside. What I'm thinking is that these are probably, some of them, not all of them, are from another world. They're from outside of this world, but that they are essentially probes. They're doing the same thing we would do if we had the ability to get to another solar system.
And Rick, you're saying, and the government's response in this sense is really being honest. Up to a point. They're saying we don't know what they are. They keep saying this over and over again. We really don't know what these drones are. Now, what I find disingenuous then is, let's just, for the sake of argument, let's just play this scenario out. This is some kind of extraterrestrial life form or an alien or from another planet. Well, how do you know then? I don't mean you as in you, Rick. I'm talking about the government. How does the government know? How do they know that they don't pose a threat? Like they keep saying, it's not a threat, it's not a threat. Well, if you don't know what it is, then you can't give us that guarantee. Am I wrong? What do you think these drones are?
Well, here's the real deal, Harris. I'm also on the Transportation Committee, on the Aviation Subcommittee, and I've gotten to know people. and from very high sources, very qualified sources, very responsible sources. I'm going to tell you the real deal. Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones. That mothership is off, I'm going to tell you the deal. It's off the east coast of the United States of America. They've launched drones. It's everything that we can see or hear. And again, these are from high sources. I don't say this lightly.
Congressman Jeff Van Drew, again, he's no flamethrower or bomb thrower, very sober, serious member of Congress, saying, look, I've spoken to people high up in the CIA, the NSA, in the Pentagon, off the record, on background, and they're saying, no, these are foreign drones from foreign adversaries, a combination of Iran and China. There's a mothership, and they are clearly engaged in spying and mass surveillance off of our eastern seaboard. And Van Drew is saying, shoot him down. This is basically a form of an attack on the United States. Clearly a violation of our airspace, and they are probing our defenses. And like the Chinese spy balloon, we're being, in terms of airspace, we're being raped. They're just hovering over all of these key military national security sites for hours after hour after hour and just vacuuming all this information. And he says it's an embarrassment why they haven't been taken down. Do you agree with Jeff Van Drew, Congressman Van Drew, 617-266-6868? Okay. It is the Kuhner Country poll question of the day. And remember, the government is saying two things, and it's across, it doesn't matter now. The Biden administration, the Department of Defense, the Department of Justice, the FBI, the Federal Aviation Administration, it doesn't matter. Homeland Security. They're all saying the same thing. One, these are not U.S. drones. That's what they're saying. Not some kind of an advanced test pilot they're not ours. We're telling you it's not ours. And two, they have no idea what they are. None. Zero. None. They don't know who's behind them. They don't know who owns them. They don't know where they're coming from. They don't know what their purpose is, but it's not a threat. They keep saying this over and over. It's not a threat. It's just not a threat. We don't know what it is, but it's just not a threat. Now, what is indisputable is that these drones are coming from the ocean. And then after they do their, 7-8 hours in the air, they go back to the ocean. And then they just disappear. Now, the reason why we know that is because we have so many police officers, local state law enforcement, and FBI, to be frank, who say, well, we're following the drones, and then we hit the Jersey Shore. We're like, oh, it's going back into the ocean. And then every night you wait and it comes from the ocean. So they've clearly been spotted coming from the ocean and then going back to the ocean. So with all of this being said, this is the Kuhner Country poll question of the day, sponsored by Mario's. Mario's Quality Roofing, Siding, and Windows. Do you believe our government when they say they know nothing about these New Jersey drones, these drones over in New Jersey, and now, by the way, Philadelphia and New York City. Now they're being spotted in New York and in Philadelphia. Do you believe our government when they say they know nothing about these drones? A, yes, you believe them. B, no, I don't believe them. I'm a no. I don't believe them. I just don't believe them. I don't trust this regime. I don't trust Biden. I don't trust the Pentagon. I don't trust this FBI. I don't trust any of them. They lie all the time. So why wouldn't they be lying now? But that's me. I want to hear from you. You can vote on our webpage, wrko.com/Kuhner, wrko.com/Kuhner, KUHN is in national ER. You can also vote via X, and I was opining last night on X about this and many other topics. My handle there, and you can vote there. at the Kuhner Report, all one word, Kuhn as in national ER, Suzanne in Ashland. Thanks for holding, Suzanne, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. How are you today?
Good. I'm just happy I haven't been abducted yet by one of those drones, Suzanne.
Well, Jeff, with the mothership and all, I want to know what the pronouns are. I mean, Jeff, I can't explain this quiet calm when everyone should be a little bit nervous about what that is. The only thing I'm worried about is President Trump and making sure he is safe. With that said, it might be UFOs. I believe Jeff Van Drew. I mean, where is our military? Where is Milley? Where is our government? I will add to it. I believe that this is an Iranian proxy for China, and I actually believe that the government is in on the take. I believe they're coordinating this. I mean, I'm on the Mass Pike right now. You wouldn't believe the amount of surveillance, those little cameras they have all over the place. You add to that AI. The military knows what it is. The military put this in place. I mean, the balloon was the big, let's see what they'll do. I mean, I remember a time when anything foreign entering our airspace got shot down before it entered the airspace. They are taking our intellectual property, and they're now into the micro, they're into our neighborhoods, our facilities. I see drones at night over my house. They've got to shoot them down. This has got to stop. And these people, our government, need to be called in toot sweet immediately. This is an emergency. Where is our president, vice president, and our top military people? Where are they?
Oh, Suzanne, I'm telling you, you're on fire. You're nailing it. Absolutely. Look, this is a national embarrassment. At best, it's a national embarrassment. At worst, our government is complicit, maybe in a possible assassination attempt on Trump. And if people are saying, come on, Jeff, one of the reasons why, in fact, the major reason, if you read the local media in particular, okay, forget the national media, but you read the local papers in New Jersey and in New York, the residents are livid. And the reason why they're livid is that these drones are being spotted again and again and again over Trump's home in Bedminster, New Jersey. That's basically his second home, okay, outside of Mar-a-Lago. He's got a golf club there, but he spends a lot of time there. And they're saying these things are hovering over Bedminster. They're sitting there 6, 7, 8 hours. Now, let's not be children. We know for a fact Iran tried to assassinate Trump. In fact, they tried to assassinate him twice. People forget this. Before Butler, the Iranians sent an assassination squad to get Trump. This was before Butler. And then they tried to kill him again after Butler. So we know the Iranians want our president dead. They've said it openly on their website, for God's sake, the government's website. The Ayatollah openly has put a fatwa on Trump's head. Now, have they bought these sophisticated ships called, motherships that you can put in the ocean and then deploy all these fleets of drones? Yes. From China. Have they bought the latest sophisticated drone technology from China? Yes. Now, just stand back objectively, and I'm going to give you the final word, Suzanne. There are two countries on the face of the earth that want our president dead. China and Iran. Not Russia. Putin now needs Trump to end this war in Ukraine. Even North Korea, Rocket Man, he thinks he can do business with Trump. So he doesn't want him dead. But the Chinese want him dead. And the Iranians want him dead. And all of a sudden now, after 2 assassination attempts, you've got this unexpected explosion, this fleet of these super advanced drones. And they're just, yes, they're flying over military facilities. They're spying and surveilling and vacuuming and sucking up information. But they're all over Bedminster. They're just hovering over Bedminster. Shoot them down. Shoot them down. And again, my advice to Trump, don't go to Bedminster. To me, you're crazy if you go to Bedminster. And, and again, I go back to this, Suzanne. You keep telling us you know nothing about this. You know, you're in the dark. You're blind. You're blind, deaf, and mute. Okay, you know nothing. Except they're not ours, and you claim they're not foreign, and you claim they're not dangerous. Well, how do you know that? If you don't know what they are, the only thing you can speak, in terms of with any kind of authority is whether they're ours. So let's take their word for it. They're not ours. Okay. Well, then how do you know if they're not Chinese? How do you know they're not Iranian? How do you know this is all harmless and people are just having fun in the sky? And they're coming from the ocean every night? And then they go back and disappear into the ocean? And whenever the FBI or state police send helicopters or their drones to pursue and try to detect them, they are so fast they evade capture, or they go dark and you just can't get a radio signal out of them. You can't detect them. You can't track them. You can't trace them. They haven't seen this kind of technology. That's why the police are so angry. They go, we've never seen technology like this before regarding a drone. Our people try to get close, and this thing either flies away, it is so fast, or it goes dark. Or it just starts to move in the sky, almost defying gravity. I don't believe this government. I think these are the Iranians and the Chinese. And I think, honestly, they are raping this country in terms of surveillance and spying. And I believe if they have a chance to assassinate the president, they will. Final word to you, Suzanne.
Jeff, give me a boat. I'll go follow it. I'll follow it for everybody. I'll let Millie know what's going on. Give me a boat. I'll follow it. Okay, and then we shoot them down. If they're coming, it's absurd. I say if it's, I'd be happier to know it's aliens. I don't trust my government right now. If they're involved, it's time to shoot them down today before they continue to deploy more drones and surveil more of us, more Americans, right over our Air Force base. And then you court-martial that smug Mayorkas, Blinken, Milley, all of them. They get court-martialed next week. So prepare. That's all I can say.
Suzanne, thank you very much for that call. Really, January 20th just can't come fast enough. And I got to say this. It was not even my point. It's Sandy's point. And she made it about maybe half an hour ago. And I think it's a brilliant point. She just went in my ear as I was, talking. And she said, can you imagine if, this, let's say it's, a month from now, Pete Hegseth is defense secretary? Under a Pete Hegseth Pentagon and Department of Defense, how long do you think those drones would be up in the sky? 30 seconds? Maybe a minute, tops? He would order those drones to be shot down so fast your head would spin. Frank, he may even go there himself and put the order to shoot him down. He may literally go to New Jersey and say, yeah, that one. Now, that one right there, shoot it out of the sky. Instead, nothing. Where's Lloyd Austin? I don't know. Christopher Wray, he resigned yesterday. So that loser is now gone. Okay, so Christopher Wray is resigning. Kash Patel, God, please put him in. Kash Patel, paving the way now for Kash Patel under Trump. So Chris Wray has resigned. He's gone. Bye-bye. Blinken, where is he? Milley's retired. Biden, Kamala, where are they? Nowhere. Now, leave aside the assassination angle for a second. They are spying and surveilling our most sensitive national security research military facilities right underneath our nose? What do you think they're doing? Take Picatinny Arsenal, but there's others. You mean it just sits there 6, 7, 8 hours like the Chinese spy balloon. And it's just hovering and hovering and hovering, taking pictures. God knows what else it's doing. And getting all this vital national security information. And we just stand there and look at it. And the cops, by the way, the cops want to shoot it down. The residents want to shoot it down. The state police want to shoot it down. But they don't have the authority to do so. And the federal government is telling them, if you shoot these drones down, we're going to arrest you. It's the equivalent of blowing a plane out of the sky. So their hands are completely tied. And our Department of Defense and our Department of Homeland Security and our FBI are just sitting there and la-da-da. Do you know what it is? We don't know. La-da-da. But it doesn't pose a threat. La-da-da. Keep spying. La-da-da. Take it all. La-da-da. This is what Grace told me last night. This is Biden's final gift to the Chinese. This is his final gift with a month left to go. You want access to our nuclear facilities? You got it. Research and development, military facilities? You got it. Our most advanced naval facilities? You got it. It's all yours. And we'll just play dumb until you suck us dry. Agree, disagree, 617-266-6868. Scott in Brockton. Thanks for holding, Scott, and welcome.
Hey, good morning, Jeff.
Hi, Scott.
Jeff, I'm in total agreement with everything you're saying. And, you know, let's just think about the current administration and the things that they have been promoting, like the border is secure, like Biden's shopper's attack, like what's a woman, like how many genders are there? I mean, we could go on and on and on.
No inflation. Remember, Scott, no inflation?
Correct.
Then hold on. Then it was transitory. Then, Scott, it was a couple of weeks. Scott, couple of weeks. Remember COVID? Flatten the curve. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Scott, 2 weeks. I mean, we could go on and on and on. Please go ahead, Scott.
Oh, exactly. I mean, that's the mentality that they have. And of course, you know, there's so many people in bed in Washington with the Chinese and Iran. You know, where do you begin?
Scott, do you think, I mean, you know, I agree with you, but let me just play devil's advocate. Do you think we should shoot down the drones? Because the counter argument is, well, what if there's somebody in that drone? We don't know if it's unmanned. We suspect, obviously, but there could be some. These are big drones, the size of a Honda Civic, some of them the size of an SUV. So they go, what if there's somebody in there? You're killing someone, number one. Number two, some of these drones have fuel. You know, so there could be big explosions. And that could lead to debris falling, which could kill bystanders or innocent people on the ground. So the argument is you don't want to blow them out of the sky for public safety reasons. What say you, Scott?
Oh, take them out, Jeff. I mean, from what I understand, every drone needs to be registered and with the FAA, I believe, and there's certain restrictions that apply to those. They can only fly within certain areas. Obviously, they're ignoring all of that, and they're just willy-nilly just letting them do what they want. You know, if it was a U.S. citizen, perhaps, flying a drone, it'd be in big trouble.
Oh, I agree. Scott, thank you very much for that call. No, again, look, shoot it. You know, Sandy's with me on this one. She's like, Jeff, and it's true. She goes, look, Jeff, I don't like shooting anything on American soil. You know, I don't like to, you know, destroy anything or blow anything up in the sky, you know, over U.S. soil. But in this case, shoot that thing out of the sky and let's find out what the hell it is. I agree. Joan in Lawrence. Thanks for holding, Joan, and welcome.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi,
How
Joan.
you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Hey, I got a theory here from experience. In 1978, I worked for the United States Air Force. Outside my house one night, I saw two triangle-shaped machines, red and green lights, no motor sound. There was two on one end, two on the other, and there was trails in the sky. So at the time, I lived in Tewksbury, and I called Tumac Airport. I said, what's outside? What are these things, you know? And they're saying, oh, the Air Force is doing a rendezvous in front of your house, okay? So I was watching, and my friends came out of their house. These things flew over us, went over us in the driveway, about 10 feet above us, flew over each other. They had no fin, you know what I mean? No motor sound. And then they went back to their partner, each respectively. So I went to the Air Force the next day, and I said, what's outside my house? They said it was an Air Force rendezvous. We work for the Air Force. We should know what this is. So they showed me different machines and, you know, all these planes. They all had fins. I goes, no, that's not it. That's not it. For a week, they were out there. And when I flew from MITRE in Burlington to my house in Tewksbury, they were flying near me down Nuttings Lake in Barica. So I told them, I said, these things are out there. You know, what are they? No, nobody would answer. About a month later, now these are all lieutenant colonels in my office. A month later, one of the lieutenant colonels threw an article on my desk. Up in Maine, people were saying they were followed by triangular-shaped, you know, aircraft, red and green light, no motor sound. They had the same experience as me because I thought you were crazy. Read this. So years later, I was watching Newsmax, and I was watching a thing about drones, and I just thought back to that time. I said, they were testing drones in front of my house in 1978, and they couldn't tell us that. I think this is a test. It's near another, facilities. This was near Hanscom. You know what I'm saying? They were testing then, and I think they're testing now. Or it could be foreign people that have the same technology, and that's scary too. But I think it's not, UFOs. I think and why they're not worried, I think it's ours, and we're testing for something to come.
Well, Joan, that's the opinion of most of the residents in New Jersey. Not all, but most, or many. I was going to say many. Exactly your theory, that these are our drones. The way they were testing the drones that you were talking about in 1978, they're now testing this new advanced wave of drones, this new line of drone technology. And they're just denying it now as they denied it then. And that's at least the theory many believe in New Jersey. Joan, thank you for that call. 719 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer, and the mystery now deepens. What is happening now over the skies of New Jersey? And apparently now multiple sightings of these very same so-called drones in Philadelphia and in New York City. In fact, Kevin, a huge supporter of this show, maybe half an hour ago, 40 minutes ago, sent me something now that is trending on social media. It is a video / picture. This is now over New York City of someone who was in a plane, a commercial airline, and spotted, and it's clear by the video and the picture, it is a fleet of drones. In the picture, you count at least 20, 25 drones in almost perfect formation and over the skies of New York City. Now, again, what is disconcerting is the size of these drones. They've never seen them this big. The size of a car, as I said, in some cases, the size of a truck or a sports utility vehicle, an SUV. The strong, powerful lights, the fact that they cannot be tracked or traced or detected, their ability to go dark anytime they're being pursued, and the incredible amount of speed that they can generate. And that they're clearly coming from the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, and then they stay in the air for 7 to 8 hours. That's unheard of. Usually drones run out of, you got to recharge the battery. So what is it, a 2-hour or 3-hour shelf life, and then they got to go back and get recharged. They're able to stay up there for 7, 8 hours. It always begins in the evening, and it lasts throughout the entire night. And then by 4, 5, 6 in the morning, they then head back into the ocean. And so the question now is this our secret military technology that we're testing? And that's the theory that Joan, the previous caller, had, and that many in New Jersey believe. Or as members of Congress are now saying, they're getting information told to them on background that no, these are in fact Chinese, Iranian advanced drones, advanced technology, like the Chinese spy balloon a year ago. They're now openly spying and surveilling our most sensitive national security sites and violating our airspace and our sovereignty. Or are they aliens? Really, are they UFOs? And maybe the government this time isn't lying when they say we just don't know what they are. They're not ours, but we don't think they're a foreign adversary. We don't know what the hell it is. 617-266-6868. Okay, listen now. This is New Jersey State Representative Brian Bergen. Yesterday, it's so bad in New Jersey. This is such a massive story that hundreds of mayors, police chiefs, members of the New Jersey State Legislature, State Senate, State House, State Assembly, met with the Department of Homeland Security to get a briefing. And they left angry, disgusted, and frustrated, saying they're not telling us a thing. Roll cut 11, Mike.
You were just inside. You walked out. Why?
I walked out because it was worthless. It was the biggest amateur hour presentation I've ever seen about anything, okay? It was ridiculous. There were no answers. Every question that was asked by a member of the state legislature, great questions, no answers, no resolution. They don't know where the drones are coming from. They don't know who's doing it. They don't know why they're doing it, but they say there's no credible threat. It was annoying to be there. I drove 2 hours to be here today, spent an hour in there. I got to drive 2 hours back. The biggest waste of 5 hours in my entire life.
So why do you think they called this meeting?
No idea. Why would you call a meeting to tell people you don't know anything? I have no idea. And then when the legislators would ask questions, there were no answers. Here's the most frustrating part. The colonel of the state police said that he had a helicopter of his flying above one of these drones, a 6-foot drone or something. I can't remember exactly what he said. And he felt unsafe for his helicopter, so he just let it go. Just let it go. Where'd it go? Who knows? Didn't want to follow it because you didn't feel safe. Is that not the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard? I mean, honestly.
I mean, why do you call a meeting if you're not going to say anything? Something's going on. It's obvious something is going on. It smells. The whole thing stinks. Agree, disagree. Charles in New Hampshire. Thanks for holding, Charles, and welcome.
I'm in Lynn.
Charles, you're in Lynn?
Yeah.
Mike, how the hell do we go from Lynn to New Hampshire?
Hey, Mike, that's okay, Mike.
All right, go ahead. Charles in Lynn. My apologies. Go ahead, Charles.
Jeff, military-industrial complex, fake alien invasion. That's lately, like the last year or two, on the different podcasts on the YouTube, different guys that follow trends and things like that, they've been saying the same thing. They're going to try and pull the wool over our eyes. Iran, China, Russia, Iran, China, Russia, Fox News, Iran, China, Russia. It's always the same thing. It's our government. They're going to deceive us anyway they can. I don't know what the drones are, but I'm always just skeptical. I don't say it's Iran. I don't say it's China. I just lay back and say, I don't trust anyone,
And Charles, you think this is our government testing out maybe our most advanced technology, and they're just lying to us, correct?
I mean, first of all, Iran, it's like Syria. Assad's gone, right? And so, Assad's brutal. Yeah.
Well, you should see what the the new Al Qaeda rulers of Syria are doing. The media is not reporting on this. Massacres, beheadings, imposing Sharia law. They're worse than Assad. But that's another story. 7:31 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. So this is now the question. There's a fleet of drones. It's been going on now for at least 3 weeks over New Jersey. They're now being spotted in New York and in Philadelphia, not just, by the way, hovering over sensitive military research and national security sites, but apparently over Bedminster, where Trump's second home is his golf club. They're almost every night they are hovering around there. They're also over power lines, police stations, law enforcement facilities. So apparently even critical civilian infrastructure is now they're hovering over those as well. And so the question now is, are they aliens? Really, are these UFOs? Are they spies? Is this the Chinese or the Iranians? Is this our secret military technology? This is what 617 says. You can text us 70470, 70470. Jeff, I think the drones are ours, and they are designed to strike fear into the hearts of Americans so the government can impose even more surveillance in the, quote, interest of safety, unquote. Interesting. This is from 212. Jeff, it's not aliens. It's not Iran. It's our own military industrial complex. And now they're unleashing these drones, showing us their secret advanced technology. Interesting. One more, 508. Jeff, look at how much attention these drones are getting. Could this be a supreme distraction or something the globalists are planning? John in Groveland. Thanks for holding, John, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you, John?
Good. I have a different theory. It's not my theory. Actually, I read it last night on social media, an article by Jay Anderson from the Project Unity. And I believe it's the most plausible theory, and I agree with it. These are not alien drones. These are not foreign adversary drones. These are U.S. military drones. And the reason that they're there, and our government is denying that they're ours, is because they are monitoring for a biological nuclear threat from a foreign adversary. Dirty bomb, tactical nuke, brought in through us porous open southern border by a terrorist cell. We know that the terrorists caught at the border was a 400% increase in the last 4 years. The government is denying any involvement. It does not want to panic the public. And after reading this guy's article, I agree with him 100%. I believe that there's something nefarious going on. There's a significant threat to public safety. The government's stonewalling all those New Jersey government officials that went to that meeting yesterday. They're not going to tell them anything because they don't want to panic the public. And I think I agree with this. I mean, Mayorkas, Biden have left this country vulnerable through our porous southern border by the mass influx of millions upon millions of unvetted people from around the globe. And it's come home to roost now. And I believe that there is a mothership off the coast. It's our mothership. If it was a foreign adversary's mothership, it would be at the bottom of the ocean. Our military would sink it. If these were foreign drones, our military would take them out of the sky because they're so numerous, and it's starting to panic the public. So this is our government. They're searching for a threat to the homeland, and they don't want to panic the public. That's not my theory, but I agree with it. I think it's the most plausible.
It's a very powerful, very compelling theory. I'm going to be honest with you. It's a very, very very realistic possibility. And John, look, I don't want to get sidetracked because we talk about the border and immigration, as you know, very often on this show. But it's why I believe what Joe Biden and Mayorkas did is unforgivable. and I'm choosing my words very carefully, what they have done to our country is criminal. The people that they've allowed in is so dangerous and so reckless and so irresponsible. And, you know, when you describe this, look, we know terrorists have come into, we know this. Our own FBI has admitted this. They say minimum hundreds of terrorists, if not thousands, have come into the United States. We know that Iranian operatives have come in. We know that there are young Chinese military-aged males. Hundreds of thousands of them have poured in over the last 4 years. Any one of them could be bringing in a dirty bomb. I mean, a dirty bomb means you can blow up an entire city and literally kill millions of people. And then you combine this, John. Again, I don't want to get too sidetracked. But what is New York? New York is a sanctuary city. What's New York State? Sanctuary jurisdiction. New Jersey, sanctuary jurisdiction. Boston, sanctuary state. Philadelphia, sanctuary state. So you've got these drones now who are expanding their coverage. Let's just assume your theory is right. And if they're looking for a, dangerous biological weapon or chemical weapon or a dirty bomb or a nuclear weapon or whatever, well, look how much easier it is to hide in a sanctuary city or in a sanctuary jurisdiction. And that's why I've been saying for I don't know how many years now, the sanctuary city mayors and governors need to be arrested because they are putting our lives and the national security of the United States in mortal jeopardy. Now, I hope to God you're wrong. I do. And, I don't know what it's, I hope it's just our technology is that good and that advanced and they're just testing it. I'm hoping it's that. Or if it's the Chinese or the Iranians, we wake up and we shoot those things out of the sky. Or, there's another possibility. It's the most benign of all. Google, Amazon, there are, very wealthy, sophisticated private companies that are really putting together some very impressive pieces of technology. So maybe it's one of them testing it out, but why would they not say it? And, how do they, see, the part that unnerves me, John, is the fact that they keep coming from the ocean and then going back to the ocean and they then just disappear. See, that's the part that really, I'm like, that doesn't seem like a private company to me. So either it's something nefarious or they're UFOs. Final word to you, John. Am I wrong?
Jeff, I think at this point, any theory is at play. I hope that the one that I just spoke about is 1,000% wrong, incorrect. But I think eventually we're going to find out what it is. Could just be deep state distraction for the transition of power between Biden and Trump, too, to seed chaos within the nation.
John, I know this is a little bit off of what your very compelling theory is, but let's just go there. Say these are UFOs. Okay, just for the sake of argument. These are, unidentified aircraft, space aliens from another planet. And, they're exploring our planet. That's what they're doing. And they're gathering information. And, they're able to move in ways that our technology can't compete with. And we dare, God forbid, we shoot one of these down. What I'm asking is this. If they are UFOs, is there not some prudence then on the government's part in saying, hey, look, if we don't know what this is, let's say it's legitimate, we don't know. It's not ours, and we don't think it's Iranian, and we don't think it's Chinese, and we don't think it's Russian, and no private company can do this. So if this thing is outer space, these are space aliens, and you blow that thing out of the sky, you could be inviting the wrath of another planet. I know we're getting into science fiction stuff. But is there is there a coherence to this logic, John?
Possibly, it could happen, but if the aliens land before January 20th and say, take me to your leader, they're going to look at Biden, shake their head, and jump in their spaceships and fly away.
Touche, John. Touche, my friend. No, really, though. Can you imagine if these are UFOs? You know, seriously. And they're like this. This is their leader, Joe Biden. They're like, no, you're kidding. Really? This is their, this is his IQ. This is Joe Biden. Oh, in fact, speaking of Joe Biden, Mike, do we have time? Play cut 2. Go ahead. Roll it, Mike. This is our leader. Go, Mike. Cut 2.
If I can digress for a moment, I have been the beneficiary of a lot of the research been done. I had 2 cranial aneurysms, 2 9-hour operations. Took the top of my head off twice. Couldn't find a brain the first time.
I'm not kidding. This was Joey yesterday at a conference on women's health. He's making jokes about him not having a brain. No, it wasn't a joke. It was serious. There's nothing there. We opened it up. It's gone. There's nothing there. The aliens took it. It's gone. More with your calls next. What do you think is flying over the skies in New Jersey? And now, apparently Philadelphia and New York are getting some sightings as well. Mysterious drones. Are they ours? Is it our own secret military technology and our government doesn't want us to know about it? Are they foreign adversaries, China, Iran? Or are they UFOs? 617-266-6868, 750 here on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer. Judy in Vermont. Thanks for holding, Judy, and welcome.
Hi, Jeff. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. All the best to you and your family, Judy.
Oh, thank you. We need it. Can you believe the aliens are invading just 2 months before Trump assumes office? Could you have ever, imagine such a crazy thing? Have you ever heard of Project Bluebeam?
No.
Where they can project anything in the sky. They can project images of anything, have them move. I believe it's easier to do it at night because the visual, then it flies off, goes dark. That's what I think is going on. I think that's why they're saying don't shoot at them, because they'll realize it's just an image in the sky. And don't worry, no danger. Well, because it's just an image in the sky. And I think the whole point of this is obviously our government and the globalists to create mass hysteria here. I think we're just going to keep seeing more and more. And then they're going to say we're being invaded by an unknown entity, and then they can enact martial law. And didn't Congress, I think before the election, they did some bill or some law where Congress can be reseated immediately in the event of a terror attack? And everyone's like, we've never heard of this. Where'd this come from? This is weird. And I think they're going to blame Iran and China so that they can rev up all the people for World War III, which is what the globalists want. And Biden, he never once said, God bless America. He doesn't want America. He wants a one world entity ruled by globalists. So I just think that I'm not buying any of it. I don't believe the aliens decided to come down 2 months before Trump got in. I don't trust our government, and they want a mass hysteria and they want martial law. They've been very, very quiet lately. I think they had a plan.
Well, I got to tell you, Judy, that's a lot of people are on your side. That's a lot of people are saying that. And look, I can't put anything past the people in power and our government, because you nailed it. They are run by globalists. They do want panic and mass hysteria. They want to erase the United States as we know it and create a new world order with them as the elite running it. But they want a new global order. And look, and this is a way to really terrorize people, and it's working. I got to say, Judy, they have, and the sightings are getting more frequent. This is not dying down. This is intensifying. Now, the only thing I would just say as a caveat to what you're saying, and it doesn't dispute anything, is just to maybe fill out the picture a little bit, is something very similar happened in Virginia last year. Almost identical. And this was in Virginia, again, coming from the ocean. Same thing. They come from the ocean and they go back to the ocean. Very large drones. Never seen this size before. Unbelievable speed. Can go in the dark. Can't detect. Can't trace. Can jam any radio signal. Crazy lights in the sky. And hovering over key national security sites, including, by the way, Langley. Over Langley. And it created a lot of panic out in Virginia. And the same thing, our government came out, our Department of Defense said, we don't know what this is. It's not ours. We don't know what this is. We don't know the origin of this, where it's coming from, where it's heading, what the purpose of this is. We don't know. And then the same thing, the FBI, the Department of Justice, across the board. And it created a lot of panic, a lot of concern. It lasted for about 3 weeks, and then it just ended. But it was a swarm of drones, a fleet of drones, just like what we're seeing now. I mean, that's the other thing, Judy. It's not one drone here or one drone there. They're spotting 20, 25 of them. Almost at one time, well coordinated, circulating, swarming, navigating, hovering. And what's concerning to me is, yes, they're targeting these national security sites and research and advanced military research, but they're all over Bedminster. That's what's freaking everybody out. Everybody in New Jersey knows where Trump is. He's coming in as president. By the way, got a lot of votes in New Jersey. Didn't win, but there's a lot of votes, a lot of support for him. And they're like, these things are basically sitting on top of his country club and his second home. And they're like, how can you, this is the president of the United States. It's his second residence. He comes here all the time. He's here all the time. And you don't know what it is, and you're just going to let it sit there. And so it's creating more concern, more worry, more panic. And Judy, please don't take my word for it. You got to hear the local sheriffs, the local mayors, the state reps, the state senators. I mean, they're really worried. They're losing their minds down there because they don't know what it is. And it's ominous. It looks very threatening. And you see, Judy, what's, I think, really disconcerting is you get a briefing, and this is your own government, and they're telling you, I don't know. They're like, well, what do you mean, I don't know? The thing's the size of an SUV, for God's sake. And it just disappears at will. And it's doing crazy things in the sky. And it just sits there. And, what, can it shoot a missile? Is it spying on us? I don't know. Now, when you keep telling people you don't know, you're sowing panic. There's no question. Because you're claiming, hey, it could be anything, literally anything. So, Judy, it happened in Virginia, and now it's happening again. Final word to you.
I don't trust anything the government's telling us. It's my final word. And I know Trump's coming in January 20th. And it's not a coincidence. It's all planned. That's what I think. I mean, we don't know because our government isn't truthful to us anymore. And we know that. So could be anything.
Judy, I can't wait for, honestly, January 20th. I'm like, come on. It just can't come fast enough, really. Judy, thank you very much for that call. Alan in South Carolina. Thanks for holding, Alan, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff.
Hi, Alan.
Orc from Orc, Nanu. Yes, I'm dating myself a little bit. I'm 53 yesterday.
No, as long as it's not Alien, like the movie. That's all I care about. You know what I mean? I don't want something coming into my home. I'm like, oh my God, what is it? And then before and I'm dead. But anyway, but let that go. Go ahead, Alan.
Serious question, considering what you had just relayed, that this is like hovering over Bedminster and stuff like that. What would happen? I mean, God forbid something happens to Trump, whether it's these things or another Thomas Crooks or whatever, in this period. Something happens to him. Does JD just automatically assume president-elect? I mean, he hasn't been sworn in yet, so we're in kind of like uncharted territory here, aren't we?
Yeah, no, but JD would be the next president of the United States.
Okay, so if something were to happen, he automatically assumes the top of the ticket.
He becomes the next president. But I want to, Alan, I want to do this, if you don't mind. I want to play a cut. And again, this guy's not a bomb thrower. In fact, I interviewed him multiple times when I was at the Washington Times. I don't agree with him on everything. He's more of a moderate Republican. You know me, I'm an America First conservative Republican. But he's very smart, very sober, very prudent. This is not a guy who makes, he's not Adam Schiff. He doesn't just make wild accusations or, just go out there and say the most inflammatory, incendiary things. He's very restrained in everything that he says, very highly respected on Capitol Hill. And that is New Jersey Republican Congressman Chris Smith. He sits on the Homeland Security Committee. And so this is him during the Homeland Security hearing, where they have FBI officials who are testifying under oath, and they're saying, we don't know what this is. We don't know what these drones are. We have no idea. We don't know if they pose a threat, don't pose a threat, where they're coming from, who's controlling them. We are absolutely clueless. Smith is worried that this could be a potential assassination on Trump. He's worried about how they're spying or just flying around Bedminster and some of our key military facilities. And listen to what he says. Roll cut 12, Mike.
I did reach out to the commanding officer at the Joint Base, which is also in my district, and talked to him. Had a very good conversation. Colonel Anthony Smith, Joint Base Fort Dix McGuire, the 87th Air Wing, Air Base Wing today. And I said, I know you have the capability. You've put out press releases to identify and bring down drones. Why can't you deploy them, at least to the ocean? Bring one of these down, find out who's doing it. They have the capability. He said, we don't have the authority, only within the parameters of our base. Well, there's a national interest here. Our jets fly over the ocean all the time for training, so that perimeter is larger. So I did write Secretary Lloyd Austin asking that capability that may be sitting in a closet somewhere. I know they use it all the time, but bring it out. And I'm not saying you got to share it with the sheriffs. It'd be nice. Just do it yourself in the interest of the American public. So I would ask if you would echo that request. I mean, DOD's got the capability, and maybe Homeland Security does as well.
Alan, I'm with Chris Smith on this. Shoot the thing out of the sky. If you want, pursue it, right near the ocean, so you make sure there's no debris that falls and hurts people, and then shoot the thing out of the sky, and let's grab it, get a hold of it, and find out what the hell it is. So why is our government so reluctant to take action? To me, it seems, and I want to get your take on this, are we watching the China spy balloon 2.0 all over again? Except now it's not a spy balloon, it's these drones, fleets of drones. But for whatever reason, everybody's wringing their hands. And by the way, you say to DOD, why shoot it down? We don't have jurisdiction. Go to the FBI. You go to the FBI. Why don't you shoot it down? We don't have jurisdiction. Go to Homeland Security. I'm serious. Homeland Security says, well, no, we don't have jurisdiction. Go to DOJ. DOJ says, don't ask us, go to the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration. They're like, what are you, crazy? We don't have jurisdiction. So everybody's passing the ball off. They're all passing the buck. Nobody wants to take decisive action. Why are they so reluctant? Why are they refusing to shoot that thing out of the sky? What say you, Alan?
I think that you're right, it's spy balloon 2.0, first of all. Secondly, there's only two ways to look at this. One, our government doesn't know what's going on, which is they're incompetent, and that's terrifying in and of itself. Or two, they know exactly who these drones belong to, and they're hiding it from us, which means they're in on it, and it's part of the willful destruction of this country, and they're traitors. Those are the only two ways to look at it, as I can see.
Let me throw this out there, because a lot of people are texting, and to me, it's an obvious question. Let's say it's ours, okay, Alan, just for the sake of argument, okay? And honestly, mazel tov. No, really, good. Better us than anybody else, okay? So we've got now like these super drones. I mean, the best, most sophisticated drones. You can't track them. You can't trace them. They can go dark. They're big. I mean, they can stay up for 7-8 hours. We've got stuff now technology that is unrivaled and unparalleled. Why not just say they're ours? I mean, because there's so many of them in the sky, and they're being spotted. They're being videotaped. They're being spotted now. It's so frequent that you've got New Jersey in a panic. New York City's becoming in a panic. Philadelphia's becoming in a panic. All the cable news networks are covering it. All the media is covering it. The world is covering it. So in a sense, the genie's out of the bottle. It's not as if you can conduct testing and we don't know what's going on up there. No, we see what's going on. We see the size, the lights, the whole thing. Why can't our government just come out and say, it's ours? We don't want to divulge more than that. We don't want to get into specifics, obviously. But we've got some new technology, and we're testing it out, and everybody just calm down. There's no imminent threat. Why can't our government, be vague? But why can't our government, cop to it? What are they hiding? What say you, Alan?
That's the age-old question. I mean, they're always hiding something. Why? I can't. I don't know. I mean, not wanting to tip our hand against our adversaries to let them know that we got this. And I mean, look what they did with the B-1 bomber, the Stealth 117 fighter. They kept that thing so far under wraps until they got a chance to actually use it in combat operations in Iraq.
I see
maybe
what you're
they're
saying.
just waiting for the right time so that they can then deploy it in an active situation.
Interesting. No, I think, you know what? That sounds very plausible to me. Alan, as always, thank you very much for that call. And if I don't speak to you before the holidays, have a very Merry Christmas. All the best to you and your family, Alan. Scott in Revere. Thanks for holding, Scott, and welcome.
Yes, I love you. You know, take away my pet.
Thank you, Scott. Honestly, you always make me laugh every time you call. The way you say it with such pep and gusto. Scott, what do you make of this? Is this our secret military technology? Do you think these are foreign adversaries? Or, like Mike. Mike is convinced these are UFOs. These are extraterrestrial space aliens from another planet, and our government, like the X-Files, is trying to cover it up. What say you, Scott?
Mike, I love you too, but they want UFOs, Mike. They literally, you know what the giveaway is, Jeff? I'm just going to shoot from there. Well, first I want to say, maybe they're just here to take the liberals away. and we'll all catch a break. Maybe that's what about. Maybe hopefully that's what they're here for.
Oh, if only that were true, huh, Scott? If only. Beam me up, Scotty. Scott, so what do you think is going on?
Our own government is saying don't shoot it up, don't shoot it out of the sky, correct? That's what they're saying.
Yeah, don't shoot it out of the sky. They're saying it's not ours, but they don't know what they are. Like, they have no idea, no clue. Allegedly.
When they say don't shoot it out of the sky, should be a giveaway to everybody on whose it is. It's ours. We know it's ours. Now that we find out it's over Trump's second home, that should give you a second clue on what's going on. They're following Trump. These people don't want Trump coming to power. And I believe that's right. It's not over. I believe that they're setting Trump up for another assassination. I really do. And I don't care what anyone's. Just look at the people he's picking for his cabinet. These people, the globalists, they are running terrified. These people in jail. And think about it, if you were in their shoes, Jeff. If you were in the minds of these people who hate America, who've been ruining our country, have done so many crimes you
only hope. If you don't do that, you're done. You're done for. Literally, you're going to jail. And there's a lot of people, big, influential, globalist people, people in our government that don't want all this information coming out. And they're going to do anything, literally, anything, to stop it. That's what I believe they're going to blame it on something like aliens, or it was China, Iraq, or they're going to try to blame it on them people, on other things. But the giveaway is don't shoot it out of the sky. The first thing they should do is shoot it out of the sky. You understand?
Interesting. No, Scott, look, very, very interesting. Look, I'll just give you an example, just to, push along what you're saying. Take Christopher Wray. Okay. I don't want to, we'll talk about it probably tomorrow, but he announced last night in front of the FBI town hall that he's now resigning. He's out. Okay. He's going to leave in the next week or so. And Kash Patel is looking now to be his replacement. That's Trump's guy. Kash Patel has openly said, just to prove your point, I'm going to dismantle the FBI. I'm going to shut down their headquarters in Washington. And then I'm going to clean out the entire top ranks. And then I'm going to prosecute. These are Kash Patel's words. I'm going to prosecute all of the evildoers in the FBI, all of those who committed crimes. So if I'm in the FBI and I'm some career agent, or I'm some, hack who's committed all of these crimes, or if I'm at the top of the bureau and I'm like, he's going to dismantle us, he's going to get rid of us, he's going to start investigating and prosecuting us, we can't let Kash Patel come to power. The problem is, it's not Kash Patel, it's Donald Trump. We get rid of Kash Patel, he'll find somebody else to replace Kash Patel. So the incentive by the blob, if you want to call it, by the machine, by the deep state, by the ruling class, the uniparty, the permanent bureaucracy, whatever you want to call it, to prevent Trump from becoming president is incredibly strong. So that's my fear. What you articulated is my deep, deep fear. That either this is U.S. technology and they're trying to assassinate Trump, or like they didn't shoot the China spy balloon until it was safely into the ocean and that it completed its mission. Joe Biden has betrayed us again and is letting the Chinese and the Iranians spy, surveil, steal our most sensitive national security military information, or maybe say, hey, they want to kill Trump? Let them kill Trump. Either way, this is an absolute disgrace and an embarrassment. And to me, it's a threat. This poses a threat. Shoot it out of the sky. And the fact that they don't want to, I agree with you, Scott, tells you everything you need to know. 617-266-6868. Agree, disagree, all of your calls next. 820 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, lines are jammed. I'm going to go right to the phone lines, but this is from 603. You can text us 70470, 70470. Jeff, I think we found the reason why the drones are here and why they're targeting New Jersey, New York, and Philadelphia. Jeff, unlike Mike, I don't think these are space aliens. But let's say for a moment that they are, that these are UFOs. If this is the case, then I think I have the answer. If space aliens exist, then their highly advanced technology is able to monitor our airwaves. And in particular, the Kuhner Report. And they've been hearing the Kuhnerman report that quote-unquote illegal aliens are getting all these taxpayer-funded freebies EBT, free housing, welfare, etc. And they're saying to themselves, hey, we're aliens, and we're not U.S. citizens, so we're illegals too. Why aren't we getting in on this action? And notice this, Jeff. They're all flying over blue cities and blue states, huh? Yeah. Next, they'll be flying over Massachusetts and Mayor Wu's Boston. I mean, they're going to be parked on top of Mayor Wu's office and Maura Healey. They're not going to leave. They're not going back to the ocean. If they're here for the freebies, they're like, no, we're not going back. This is just too good. I don't want to risk losing it. But you got to come back. We're not going anywhere. They're going to be permanently parked in the skies of Massachusetts. 617-266-6868. Anthony in Michigan. Thanks for holding, Anthony, and welcome.
Dr. Kuhner, I'm just hopefully there's no cows around. You know what I mean, sir? Oh, man. Hey, buddy, there's a lot of ways to look at this. First of all, let me start off with Elon. I don't know if you heard the other day, he says he seriously thinks that Trump should cancel the F-35 because it's a boondoggle, and that we need to go into drone-type warfare because of the swarming, etc., and a lot of the drone warfare that went on in the Ukraine/Russia war. It is revolutionary. Secondarily, you know what I do that I don't want to talk about. I recently had some ability to talk to some of the people in the battery space, and there's one particular firm that is working on batteries in this arena, and they've doubled the flight time, let's say from a half an hour to an hour. But if these things are flying for 6 hours, Jeff, that is a 6X. That is a breakthrough for the entire electric vehicle world. So that's out, that's like really out there. I don't see how they did it. Which leads me to believe is some of this BS, and or have we developed a system and they're testing it for protection of POTUS? It could be one of ours. And how much of this at this point is hype? So there's a lot going on here to digest.
Oh, I agree. I mean, Anthony, I'm just, I'm going by, testimony and witnesses and what the police have said and law enforcement who have been tracking them. And so, they're the ones saying, look, they're up there. We can see them. They're hovering 6, 7, 8 hours. And apparently, Anthony, just so that you know, it started November 18th. They go for whatever reason, that was the date. And initially it was about 4 or 5, maybe 10 of them. It's every night now, nonstop. And now it's up to 180 drones. And they're up about maybe 10, 15 miles into the sky. And they will just stay there for 6, 7, 8 hours all night. They come from the ocean and then they go back into the ocean. And then they're gone. They disappear. They go at extremely fast speeds. They've never seen such speed. They can go black, go dark, almost disappear. They have these funny, funky lights that keep going on. They make extremely loud noises. And they go, the way they keep hovering and swarming. This is again, according to local law enforcement, state law enforcement, all of these lawmakers. I mean, they're very angry and very concerned. Their words, not mine. They're saying it looks like they're spying on our military bases. I mean, they're just kind of hovering and stalking, and it's like they're scoping out and gathering information. And then the one that's most concerning is obviously Bedminster, which is Trump's country club, his golf club, and his second residence. And that's why the people there in New Jersey are in a full-blown panic. And then what's adding to the panic are all of these state lawmakers saying we're being given briefings by Homeland Security, briefings by the FBI, briefings by the DOD, and they just keep every question we have. They say, we don't know. We just don't know. We don't know what that is. We don't know the origin. We don't know where it's going, where it's from, who's controlling it, who's not controlling it. And they're like, this is very disconcerting. If you don't know, how can you tell us we're safe? And now it's starting to get really panic-like levels, in parts of New Jersey and New York. Final word to you, Anthony.
Hovering takes a lot of power. In the battery world, they call that C, and that would be like a 10 or 9 or 10 C, which is incredible power draw. So these things powered by, if they were a piston or some other internal combustion engine, the noise profile would be way high. So what are they powered by, and how do they have 6 hours of flight time? Or is that all a canard? Something is not adding up here, or we've got a breakthrough technology, or...
Yeah, you're right. Or we have space, really, UFOs. I mean, really, I'm being serious. That's why everybody's so worried, because they've never seen technology like this ever. And our government either doesn't know or they're lying to us. More next. 8:31 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, a lot of reaction now to this developing story, and it's getting bigger and bigger. People saying, come on, Jeff, you don't really believe they are UFOs. No, I don't. I mean, honestly, you know my position. I've said it since about, 6 o'clock this morning. Again, I have no insider knowledge. I'm just telling you how I read the evidence. I think these are Chinese Iranian drones who are spying on the United States, and they are sucking up like a vacuum, like the Chinese spy balloon. I think this time it's just drones instead of a spy balloon. And they are surveilling our key top military installations along the entire eastern seaboard. And the reason why they haven't shot him down yet is because Joe Biden, like with the spy balloon, this is his gift, maybe his final parting gift to the communist Chinese who own him lock, stock, and barrel. That's my honest opinion. So, do I think they're space aliens, or do I think they come from outer space or from another planet? No. All I'm just saying is this is a very advanced form of technology that they've never seen before. By the way, and the government is admitting this, and that all, quote unquote, their words, not mine, all traditional methods of tracing, tracking, detecting, identifying drones are not working with these drones that are flying over New Jersey. And so that's why there's a real growing sense of unease and now really concern and almost panic. Now, I just want to read to you super quick, and then I'm going to go to the phone lines. Almost to a man or woman, Republican or Democrat, New Jersey lawmakers, as well as local state law enforcement, are saying, shoot it down. Shoot it down. And they were so angry at the briefing yesterday with the Department of Homeland Security that here is what Assemblyman Paul Kenitra, hope I'm pronouncing his last name correctly, this is what he said, quote, "The one thing that I feel confident about coming out of that briefing is that the federal and state governments know very little about the situation. Every single person at the briefing," and that's pretty much the entire state legislature, 150 mayors, dozens of sheriffs and state and local law enforcement representatives. Every single person at that briefing was varying degrees of irate, angry, horrified, and scared. This is what Dawn Fantasia, she's a Republican and assemblywoman, this is what she wrote on X. Quote, "We know nothing, period," in all caps. To state that there is no known or credible threat is incredibly misleading. Now, and I think that's what people are reacting to. It's not, H.G. Wells's War of the Worlds on radio and people think there's a space invasion or an alien invasion and they're all running outside in a panic like, chickens without a head. It's, you're telling us over and over again, we don't know what this is. We have no idea. In fact, what they keep saying is, they're not ours. We're promising you. We're vowing to you. We're giving you our word. It's not U.S. secret technology. They're not ours. I'm telling you. So like, okay, well, if it's not ours, but it's not an imminent threat. Well, how do you know that? Is it Chinese? No. Well, we don't know. Is it Iranian? We don't know. Is it extraterrestrial? We don't know. So you know nothing, but somehow you're trying to tell us it's not a threat. How do you know that? If you don't know, you don't know. You're trying to act like the situation's under control, but you don't know. That's what's getting people really worried and concerned and riled up. And she's right. This, Assemblywoman Dawn Fantasia is completely right. So something isn't adding up. And all I know is that the deep state is on the same page. And they're all singing from the same choir book. It's the same line. We don't know anything, and we're not telling you anything. 617-266-6868. Becky in Oregon. Thanks for holding, Becky, and welcome.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Becky.
Okay, the only reason I called, I thought this could lend to the argument that they are ours, but then, we don't know. It could be anything. I saw the most, I've never been, this is so exciting because I've only told one person this because there's nobody else to tell. I saw the most incredible sight about, I think it was like a couple years ago. So it was about 4:00 in the morning, so it was dark. I just randomly looked out my back door, and I just couldn't believe my eyes. It was lights, a string of lights I got a pretty good look at it because they weren't going like jet speed, but they were going fast enough. I didn't have time to count them. It was like about 30, maybe. I'm guessing. Maybe it could have been more. It could have been like 40, 50, whatever. I don't think it was 50. Okay, so it was this string of lights that were not blinking. It was just regular, like one light each, and the only way, this is going to sound silly, but the only way I can describe it, so it was dark. I only saw those single light on each one. But the only way I can describe it, you know how when you see Santa with his reindeer and all the reindeer are just lined up perfectly? That's what it looked like. Obviously, it's not reindeer, it was just a single light. But they were not blinking, but they were identical lights in a string, and it just went straight across, and it wasn't that far away from my house. Okay, I live next to, it's called Boardman Bombing Range, but the bombing range, there's some farmland in between my house and the bombing range. But they weren't over the bombing range. I don't know how to estimate. The bombing range isn't that far away. But anyway, I could not believe my eyes. And so the one person that I told at the time he said they were drones. But, it was incredible. I just happened to look out my backyard, and I saw this string of lights, and I just could not believe my eyes. They were identical. They were in a line about, the distance. They were not that far apart. Not right next to each other. There was a little bit of kind of like the Santa's reindeer, they were just spaced out in between.
Becky, Becky, look, it's eerie because that's the picture. Remember I said there was Kevin, a big supporter of the show, sent me a picture of someone on a commercial airliner who spotted exactly what you're identifying now. And it's a fleet of drones, but they're, how do I say this, in perfect coordination. It's really impressive. And they got small lights on them. They're powerful lights, but they're small lights, and they're not blinking. And there's 20 or 25 of them, and all in a row, perfectly synchronized. And, they're flying, like in a formation. And, he's got the video and then the picture, and you're looking at this, you go, wow. Wow. And that's high up. That's really high up. And so I can imagine, and that's what you're describing now is what people in New Jersey, almost to a word for word, almost literally to the syllable, is what they're describing. The only thing is these drones are much bigger. That's the one thing that everybody is unanimous on. That, generally drones tend to be a little smaller. And they're saying, no, these are at least 6 feet in diameter, some 7, 8 feet in diameter, almost like a pickup truck or an SUV in the sky. And and very bright lights, just the way you're describing it. And they're up there it's always at night, only at night. And it starts at about 9, 10 o'clock in the evening, and it doesn't stop till about 5 or 6 in the morning. And it's been going now nonstop since November 18. And more drones, not less. And 180, 200 they spotted last night? And the more there are, the more people are worried. The more people are worried, the more the government is telling them they don't know. The more the government tells them they don't know, the more worried people get. And hence the cycle. And, that's now the $64,000 question. So are they ours? Are they someone else's, a foreign adversary? Or really, are we now into UFO territory? Becky, thank you very, very much for that call. I really appreciate it. 617-266-6868. By the way, there's something that Anthony in Michigan said that is very, very important and very true. One of the things we haven't focused on is the Russia-Ukraine war. Really, it's a new technology in terms of the drone war. Never in the history of mankind have drones been used to the extent that they're being used in this war. And they're now becoming lethal fighting machines, almost indispensable now to a modern military. And maybe that's what we're seeing. Our military is saying, looking at Russia, we got to keep up. 850 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, you got to hear it to believe it. So listen to this, okay? This is Congress. This is a member of Congress, Congressman August Flugger. He's at the Homeland Security Committee hearing on all of these drones that are now covering the sky in New Jersey. And in front of him, testifying, is Robert Wheeler, Assistant FBI Director. And in particular, he's supposed to handle stuff like, drones, drone technology, surveillance of American bases and national security from the sky. So Robert Wheeler is supposed to be the expert at the FBI, where this is part of his jurisdiction. Listen now to this exchange. This is why people are pulling their hair out. Roll, cut. Now remember, this is in front of Congress now. Members of Congress are being told, we don't know a thing. Your guess is as good as ours. Roll cut 5. Mike.
A group yet. We're investigating, but
what is going on in New Jersey?
So, sir, the FBI and our Newark field office, along with the state and local partners there, the Bureau is actively investigating the situation you mentioned, just the unexplained sighting of drone activity over that part of New Jersey, including proximity to sensitive sites and areas of concern. So we do not attribute that to an individual or a group yet. We're investigating, but I don't have an answer of who's responsible for that, of one or more people that are responsible for those drone flights.
So in other words, we don't know. So we can't attribute it. We can't attribute it to a group. No. To a country. No. To an individual. No. Well, then who the hell's operating and flying the drones? We don't know. I mean, so then, I'm not kidding. Wheeler, then says, well, look, we're trying to work with the DOJ. We're trying to work with the Department of Defense. We're trying to work with the Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA. And I'm not kidding. He gives out the tip line, the 1-800-CALL-FBI. He goes, if you see something, call the tip line. Now the members of Congress, both Republicans and Democrats, rarely have I ever seen them disunited. They're looking at each other. Is this guy for real? Like their jaws are almost on the floor. Their mouths are wide open. They're looking in utter disbelief. You're plugging the tip line and the tips.fbi.gov saying, well, to the public, hey, if you see something, we don't know. So, call us or go to the website. So, Congressman August Flugger comes back and he says, well, okay, could you at least reassure us? Is public safety at risk? I don't know. Is this a threat to national security? Listen now to this answer. Roll cut 6. Mike.
Is public safety at risk? Are we concerned that there are nefarious intentions that could cause either national security or a public safety incident that would put Americans at risk?
There's nothing that is known that would lead me to say that, but we just don't know, and that's the concerning part.
I think.
So, basically, we don't think so. That's what he's really saying. I don't think so, but that's just a guess. We don't know. That's what's concerning. We don't know. So think about it. Hold on. Whoa. So this could be a threat to national security. Yeah. But we just don't know. So listen now to Flugger. So he's like, okay, if that's the case, and they call them sensitive sites, so they're over our military bases, our research and weapons manufacturing facilities. We're talking about la creme de la creme, the best of our military technology. And these things are flying over them, and they're just parking themselves in the sky, hovering, swarming for hours and hours and hours, potentially conducting massive surveillance. Why don't you just shoot them out of the sky? Like, are you people crazy? Listen to this. Roll cut 6A. Because if I said it, you wouldn't believe me. Roll cut 6A. Mike.
Why are we not taking action against drones that are flying over sensitive sites?
So authority exists to mitigate a UAS in flight when authorized, and that could certainly apply to a sensitive site. I would be a little measured in speaking for the Department of Defense for those sites that are in question here, but I will say that we're, from the FBI, in a position, close liaison relationship with the Department of Defense and those areas that you mentioned, and will help in every way possible. But for securing those particular sites in this way, it is a DOD equity.
What the hell is a DOD equity? I mean, what? It's their decision? Is that what you're trying to say? So here is the FBI's point person on this whole thing. And he can't give a straight answer. So why don't we shoot it out of the sky? I don't want to presume to speak for the Pentagon. Well, but the FBI can shoot it out of the sky. Yeah, I think that's really, no, that's more of a DOD equity. What the hell is that? Like it's the ball's in their court? But when you ask the Pentagon, I'm not kidding. You ask the Pentagon, if you want, I can play you the cut. The Pentagon says, no, that's not our jurisdiction. No, we can't shoot it out of the sky. Okay, so who can? Well, we don't know. FBI says it's DOD. DOD says it's FAA. FAA says it's Homeland Security. Homeland Security says it's DOJ. Meanwhile, they keep flying and spying, potentially, spying and surveilling and spying and surveilling. if these are foreign adversary drones, and as you know my position, I believe they are, they're probing our defenses. They're getting an incredible wealth of information. I mean, this thing makes the spy balloon look like, child's play. That was one balloon. These are 180 drones. Night after night after night after night. Now, they know after how long they've been over Bedminster, they must know every centimeter of that entire country club, that entire golf club, Trump's second home, his toilet, his bathroom, his toothbrush. I mean, they know everything. I'm just saying, and you're just everybody sitting around, literally pointing finger. Well, that's their job. No, that's their department. Well, no, that's their jurisdiction. 617-266-6868 is the number. All right. I want to go back because I gotta play this cut again because I think this is the cut. Here's Congressman, and I think he's the only straight shooter in the bunch. Here's Congressman Jeff Van Drew saying, look, I got the runaround again and again and again. So I made calls. He's on the Homeland Security Committee. This is happening in his jurisdiction where he's from, and regarding his constituents, he's part of the Jersey Shore. That's that's the district that he represents. And he says, so I spoke to people high up in our national security apparatus. These are credible people, serious people with access to very classified, sensitive information. Let me tell you what they told me. We're being lied to. They're covering up for Iran and China. Roll cut 10, Mike.
Well, here's the real deal, Harris. I'm also on the Transportation Committee, on the Aviation Subcommittee, and I've gotten to know people. And from very high sources, very qualified sources, very responsible sources, I'm going to tell you the real deal. Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones. That mothership is off, I'm going to tell you the deal. It's off the east coast of the United States of America. They've launched drones, is everything that we can see or hear. And again, these are from high sources. I don't say this lightly.
Now, by the way, the media is making fun of him now. The liberal media, CNN and others, are making fun of him for using the term mothership. What he means by mothership is not, some, giant UFO, and then is just disgorging these smaller drones. What he means by mothership is a ship that has sophisticated technology on board to keep sending out drones and having them come back. And yes, by the way, that is accurate. The Iranians made a big purchase of motherships from China, along with their most advanced drone technology. And remember, the Iranians have publicly said they want Trump dead and they want to assassinate him. In fact, they tried to assassinate him on American soil twice this year alone. Listen now to Congressman Jeff Van Drew. Roll cut 10A, Mike.
Now, we know there was a probability it could have been our own government. We know it's not our own government because they would have let us know. It could have been some really glorified hobbyist or hobbyists that were doing something unbelievable. They don't have the technology. But let's pretend that's possible. The third possibility was somebody, an adversarial country, doing this. Know that Iran made a deal with China to purchase drones, motherships, and technology in order to go forward. The sources I have are good. They can't reveal who they are because they are speaking to me in confidentiality. These drones should be shot down. Whether it was some crazy hobbyist that we can't imagine or whether it is Iran, and I think it very possibly could be, they should be shot down. We are not getting the full deal, and the military is on alert with this.
Okay, so let me just sum it up, because in the end, whatever you think it is, okay, whatever your theory is, and honestly, every theory to me is plausible and viable. I'm just giving you my own. Okay? Take it for what it's worth. The conclusion is the same. Shoot it down. Shoot it down. You don't know what it is. We just don't know. It could be a threat. Yes, shoot it down. It's a hobbyist. I don't know how you can get that kind of technology, but it doesn't matter. You know what? It's still a threat. Shoot it down. It's the Chinese or the Iranians or a combination. Shoot it down. What if it's our own? Well, if they keep lying to us and they keep telling us that it's not theirs, then too bad. Shoot it down. Let's find out what it is. In other words, our airspace is being violated. Our national security is potentially being threatened. Our air defenses are being probed. And they're flying over the house, the second home of the incoming president of the United States, in which he's had 2 attempted assassinations. One almost killed him by literally a millimeter away from being killed. You don't take chances, shoot it down. Yes, no, agree, disagree. And I gotta say this, okay? I can't finish today's show without saying this. That moonbat Democrat governor of New Jersey, okay, that buffoon, Phil Murphy, this is the same guy, to show you what New Jersey's dealing with, who imposed one of the most authoritarian, draconian lockdowns during the whole COVID pandemic. Okay? Not pandemic, plandemic. All right? That whole travesty that they did to this country. And when he imposed one of the strictest, most repressive lockdowns and was confronted by the people of New Jersey saying all of this is illegal and unconstitutional, you know what that clown's response was? You can look it up. Please, don't take my word for it. Quote unquote, the Constitution is above my pay grade. That was his answer. People were saying, well, this is unconstitutional. I mean, you're shutting down businesses. You're forcing people to stay at home. You're forcing them to take a vaccine. You're imposing mask mandates. You're locking the whole state down. This is a massive violation of civil rights and civil liberties. This is clearly a violation of the Constitution. His answer, the Constitution is above my pay grade. Now this buffoon is coming out, and he is a buffoon, and he's coming out and telling every lawmaker in New Jersey, every sheriff, every police officer, every member of Congress, like Jeff Van Drew, like Congressman Chris Smith, I could go down the line, saying, don't talk about motherships. Don't talk about this being potentially Chinese or Iranian drones. There's no threat. And then when asked, well, how do you know? Do you know what it is? He goes, I don't know what it is. Nobody knows what it is. And they go, well, how do you know it's not a threat? Because. That's his answer. Because. The man is an absolute moron and a buffoon. The guy's a complete buffoon. Shoot these drones down before we regret it. And my fear is Biden now is going to suck us dry. The Chinese and the Iranians are laughing all the way to the bank. This is Biden's final gift to the Chi-Coms who own him, the oligarchs who own him, and now he's given away the store when it comes to our military secrets and our national security technology. My honest opinion, that's why he won't shoot him down, but that's me. Mark in Salem. Thanks for holding, Mark, and welcome.
Hey, how's it going, Jeff?
I'm good. How are you, Mark?
I listen, another day, another dollar. There is a lot to unpack here, okay? So, I live in Amesbury, Mass. I live 15 minutes from the beach. I live literally on the Merrimack River. So this past summer, I'm sitting in my backyard. I spend a lot of time outside. I have the flight path to Logan Airport just south of me, which I can see the planes making their rotation. Me and a buddy of mine were sitting in the backyard. My backyard's dark. We're sitting in the backyard. We're looking up, and I'm like, hey, Jeff, you see that line? I'm like, what is that? She's like, I don't know. And what it looked like to me, you know how planes have to stay X amount of miles apart? They have to stay, 5-7 miles apart? They were in a closer flight pattern than that. Dead straight line, one single white light, and they were moving from north to south. But they were way up there. But the lights were bright, as if you were looking at a light, somebody's front porch light from, a mile away. And they just quietly just moved from north to south. I know how my house is oriented as far as north, south, east, west. And I'm watching this thing head towards Boston. And then, a few minutes later, we kind of just let it go. And I look up. There was probably about 15, 20 of them. And then within a half hour, gone. Like the whole line is gone. Coming from the north. So what do you got north of us that's military? You got, Pease Air Force Base or Pease, Trade Port. But I watched those this past summer.
Mark, I'm just curious. Do you think those were a fleet of drones that you saw? Or do you think you saw something potentially extraterrestrial? In other words, UFOs.
I mean, you could go either way with the extraterrestrial thing. Either you're a kook or you're not a kook. To think that we are the only intelligent life in, an unmeasurable solar system, you'd have to be I don't know. Do I think that we're the only intelligent life? No. Do I think it was UFOs? No. No, I don't. Do I believe in UFOs? Yeah. I had a friend of mine who's straight-laced, doesn't drink, doesn't do drugs, is not a kook, is not a weirdo. Give me his story. And this guy is, if you don't believe this guy, you wouldn't believe anything if it looked right at you. Do I think it was that? No. I thought at one point, I was like, well, maybe that's Starlink. How he's got a series of satellites. Maybe that's Starlink just being moved. I don't know.
Well, Mark, it's funny you should say that because a lot of people have been texting me after when Becky in Oregon called and she described her experience, what she saw. Many people, including, Manny Ribeiro, who's a Marine veteran, very good friend of mine, said, Jeff, I think that was Elon Musk's Starlink. Could be good possibility with Starlink. But yeah, Mark, I want to go back to what you said maybe 2 lines ago. I don't know why people think, I'm not saying you do, but just in general, if you believe in UFOs or if you believe there's life, extraterrestrial life, beyond planet Earth, that somehow you're a quote unquote kook. I never quite understood that. I think the probability that we're not alone is very high. I think the probability that there is life out there beyond us is in a massive galaxy. It's probably very high. I believe there are people out there. I do. And I believe in UFOs. I mean, I've never seen one, but I've heard too many stories from too many people, as you described it, who are, they're not stoners. They're not high on LSD. They're not, hey, man. Oh, my God. There's something out there, man. No. I mean, people, as very sober, very serious, very credible people who say, Jeff, what I saw was inexplicable. So I do believe there are UFOs, and I do believe there are other people, other beings out there. I think there's no question. The only question is that what we're seeing now? I don't think it is, but that's me. So let me throw this out there. And Mark, thank you for that call. Do you believe in UFOs? And honestly, do you believe there is other life forms out there? 920 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, it's all on the table, my friends. Mysterious drones are flying all over the sky in New Jersey. Apparently now Philadelphia, New York City as well, but primarily New Jersey. Is it our own secret military technology and our government doesn't want us to know? Are they foreign adversary drones? Or are they UFOs? What say you? G-Man in Vermont. Thanks for holding, G-Man, and welcome.
Morning, Jeff.
Hi, G-Man.
I had some thoughts about this. I think this is a psyop, and it's being done to distract us from something else that would probably be bigger headlines, but they've managed to get us all distracted. I don't think these drones are from outer space, or they may have been made in China, but they're being operated here or with the knowledge of our military on purpose. And it's very annoying because, we know that they know, and they're just playing dumb. They're like, I know nothing. That's their attitude, and it's just sickening. And that's what I wanted to say about that.
G-Man, I'm just curious. Say it is ours or whatever. It's Chinese technology that we're appropriating and testing or whatever. Why not just tell the American people that? I mean, that's the part I keep returning to over and over again. Why the constant secrecy? Why the constant lying? The mendacity, the deception? If it is ours, just say it's ours. You don't have to give anything specific. I understand you want to keep military secrets, fairly secret. But, they're all over the sky. I mean, everybody can see them. Everybody's talking about them. So what are they so afraid of? What's your theory, G-Man?
I don't think they're afraid of anything. They're just doing this just to mess with us, and it's just a big psyop, They could track these things to where they came from and to where they're going. I mean, we have not only over-the-horizon radars, we have satellites. Everything's visible to the people that control these things, so it's not a secret. I mean, there's people that absolutely know where they came from, where they're going, and if they're not ours, they're Chinese, but they're being done by the Chinese in collusion with our crooked government that Sleepy Joe has set us up with. That's what I think. And I don't know what they're distracting us from, but we'll find out.
Well, G-Man, I got to tell you, you may be right completely. Don't get me wrong. But if their goal is a psyop, it's working.
Yeah.
If their goal is to spread fear and anxiety and a distraction, but even if it's not a distraction, if it's just to create hysteria and panic and worry and concern and fear, people, it's working. And even, lawmakers, I mean, I could play more clips. The frustration just boiled over yesterday. These lawmakers, you could see on their faces, they're like, something is wrong here. You can, on everyone's face. We're being lied to. What's going on behind the scenes? They're giving us assurances they have no business giving us. You can tell the lawmakers are genuinely in the dark. And so if the goal is to spread fear and paranoia and anxiety, G-Man, it's working. Final word to you, G-Man.
It's just that it harkens back to Orson Welles' War of the Worlds radio show that did exactly that, because people didn't know that it was just a radio show. They thought we were actually being attacked, and it serves, everything they do has more than one purpose. You could say it's for this or that, but I think it's doing all of the above. They create panic. Maybe they're spying. They're testing our military facilities. They test our radar responses. Those are all things that they'll map out, put in the database, and use them against us if it is the Chinese. And even if it is the Chinese, it's being done in collusion with the Sleepy Joe traitorous criminal administration.
Oh, I agree. No, I think there's no question. Look, I see the hand of China, and I see the treachery of Joe Biden, because to me, that's been the pattern for the last 4 years. G-Man, thank you very much for that call. Nancy in Attleboro. Thanks for holding, Nancy, and welcome. Welcome.
Good morning, Jeff.
Hi, Nancy.
I have two points to make. The first one may have been discussed before, but not mentioned today. My first response to this going on up here in New Jersey is, didn't they mention the government, the crooked, denying government, that it's a possibility that a private citizen could have made these? Now, what private citizen in the U.S. that's not a billionaire can afford to make 180 drones flying. So I dispute that it even comes from a private entity or person. My second comment would be, where do they think, take Iran and China off the table for a moment, where do they think these drones are made? If they were, for example, made in the USA, where in the USA? Do they manufacture them in a separate section of, for example, a car manufacturer? Do they have, or do they deny that maybe there's a bunker that exists, just like they deny that there's an Area 51? So where do they think they're being made? That's my question to you.
Nancy, can you do me a big favor? I'm up against a hard break. That is a very important question, and I want to come right back to it. And you, please hang on. I'm going to take all of your calls. What is happening over New Jersey? And are you worried, concerned, or scared? All of your calls next. 9:31 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer, cleaning up the liberal bull. 617-266-6868. Let's go right back to Nancy in Attleboro. Nancy, you asked a molto importante, very important question. Let's say these are our drones. Okay, we make them. Let's say they're ours. Secret technology. Well, where would we build them? Where would we produce them, assemble them? Where would they be created? This is the theory that many in New Jersey have. And it's the theory that some of the reporters, anyway, at the Wall Street Journal have. Okay, let's put it this way. One of the key Army research facilities that we have is actually in New Jersey. It's called Picatinny Arsenal. And that's where they come up with some of our latest weapons, latest drone technology, satellite technology. And so what many residents suspect is that these are our drones and that they were made actually at Picatinny, where they do all this kind of advanced research and development for the military, the Army in particular. And that's why the drones first appeared near Picatinny, because they came from Picatinny. And that what we're really seeing is, they're hovering above Picatinny and other military sites and Bedminster and civilian infrastructure, and they're going out into the ocean, and maybe there's a ship out there that's receiving them, that they're just giving this a really thorough vetting and trial run. They're testing these drones. They're putting them through the paces. And that's why so much of the swarm, the fleet of these drones is concentrated in that part of New Jersey because they're from Picatinny. In other words, that's where you make them. That's where you create them. That's where you produce them. And that's why they're being tested right near that area. I don't know if that answers your question, but basically that's the Northeast Area 51. What say you, Nancy?
Okay, that part I didn't know. I was just remembering that at one point I thought they came on Fox to say possibly they came from a private person, which I thought was a ridiculous comment. And then that's when they were just a few in the air, but now, as you're saying, there's up to 180. So I don't think one person can just
it's impossible. It's impossible.
So
these drones, first of all, these drones are incredibly technologically sophisticated and advanced. These are drones we've never seen before. It's not just a lot of drones. They've never seen them this big, the size of them, that move this fast, that can disappear, that can jam radio signals, that can't be detected, can't be chased, can't be tracked, can't be surveilled. And again, they keep coming from the ocean, and then they go return to the ocean, like over the ocean. And they just keep disappearing. That's what's got law enforcement in particular in a tizzy. And to the point where like hundreds of police officers I've been, like they're tracking them. And they go, here it is. It's coming from the ocean. Okay. And then they follow it, and it goes, say, to let's say over Picatinny or over Bedminster, or there's other military Fort Dix, which is a very big military facility. And it just then starts hovering and hovering for 6, 7, 8 hours at a time. And then they follow it, and it goes back into the ocean, into the darkness. Or they send drones to chase it down, or helicopters, and it's so fast that they can't chase it down, or it just goes black and it disappears right in front of you. It's a kind of technology we have never, ever seen from a drone before anywhere on the planet. That's why they're in a panic.
I was stationed there for years.
I'm sorry, I missed the last sentence, Nancy. You were in.
My question is: there are many military and naval bases. My father was stationed in Newport, Mass, Rhode Island. Why hasn't it maybe gone to that area, or would it?
Who knows? I mean, it seems like it's hovering around New York City. It is going south towards Philadelphia, but so far we have had no sightings yet. Whether Rhode Island or Connecticut, or especially here in Mass. But, I mean, who knows? I mean, Nancy, this story is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And look, I suspect if this is a Chinese-Iranian spying operation, this is not going to stop until January 20th. Why would they? If I were them, I would do base after base, facility after facility. I wouldn't stop. Nancy, thank you very much for that call. Again, that's why, I'm with the lawmakers on this. Shoot it down. Just shoot it down. Enough. Even for deterrence's sake, shoot it down. And, and if it is such sophisticated technology, look, let's just push this all the way to its logical conclusion. Let's say it's not ours, just that they're not lying to us. If it's private, I don't think it is, but just, bear with me. If it's private, I want the technology. If it's foreign, I want the technology. If it's extraterrestrial, UFO, I want the technology. Like either way, I want us to have it. I don't want a foreign power to have it. If anyone's going, it's like the atomic bomb. There was a race for the bomb. There was no question anymore about, we can't have an atomic bomb. No, that genie is out of the bottle. The only question was, were the Nazis going to get it? Were the Soviets going to get it? Or were we going to get it? I want the bomb. Well, if this is now these super drones that we've never seen before, I want them. I want them for us. So shoot it down and let's find out what's in it. Steve in Air. Thanks for holding, Steve, and welcome.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Steve.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm a long-time listener to the show, and I think I can bring to light quite a few things about UFOs. I can tell you basically it's not UFOs, because for 50 years I've been an investigator for the Mutual UFO Network. And I was the New England director of sighting reporting and investigations for all 6 New England states. The second I saw a video of one of those things coming overhead and I heard the sound, I said, it's a drone. It's definitely a drone. So to add to that, I found this information out 20 minutes after I found out about what that congressman said about that ship.
Yeah, the mothership, the Iranian mothership.
The mothership. What happened, I noticed, my background in UFOs, the second they mentioned mothership, people started saying UFOs, because the mothership in all these sci-fi movies was the one that came up and dropped off all these smaller craft to invade Earth. Okay? The mothership, I looked something up. And it only took me about 20 minutes after I saw what that congressman said. There's an article on November 5th in Business Insider magazine by a man named Jake Epstein. The name of the article is Satellite Images Show Iran's New Drone Carrier Has Set Sail, Leaving Its...
949 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, liberalism's worst nightmare, baby. All right, I want to go to Wendy in Weymouth, but just before I do, very dear friend of mine, Smitty, as I call him, sent me now the latest picture or photograph that is circulating all over social media. And it is by someone living in New Jersey that got a really good shot, a really good picture of one of these drones. Now, I'm telling you, and you're going to see it. If you go on X, it's everywhere now. First of all, it's in the sky. It's way up in the sky. It is big. I mean, when you actually see the size of it. And I texted Smitty back and I said, Smitty, I got to ask you this. Is it me? Maybe it's just me. It looks frightening. The size, the shape, I can't tell you. There's just something about it. It's creepy. It's frightening. It's ominous. When you see it, it's nothing like you've ever seen before. I mean, and he said, no, you're right, Jeff. Really, that's why the residents are freaking out. When you see this thing, it's very disconcerting. It's not just, it's the size, it's the shape, it's the way they dominate the sky. It's everything about it. And, you know, as a former Air Force veteran, he did several tours in Vietnam. Peter, he texted me as well. And he said, Jeff, look, I'm telling you, an Air Force guy keeps up with the military, everything that's happening, latest military technology. We've got satellites and drones. He says, Jeff, literally, that can detect a license plate on any car, forget in the United States, in the world. In the world. He goes, do you understand the kind of advanced, precise technology we have? Well, I'm talking about a little license plate on the back of a car. And you can, whatever, in Guatemala, in Thailand, or whatever, in the jungles of Thailand, they can zero in and pinpoint the license plate of a car if they want to. Suddenly, they can't tell us what this is? No. Nah, something stinks. Really stinks. Wendy in Weymouth. Thanks for holding, Wendy, and welcome. Wendy? Mike, was that us or was that her? That's Wendy? Has she been abducted? Is that her in one of those UFOs? And they're giving her easy listening music to try to, I don't know, put her to sleep so they can start experimenting on her. Ed in New York. Thanks for holding, Ed, and welcome.
Hey, Jeff, how you doing? Yeah, it sounds like Wendy's out of here. You know what I mean? Anyway,
she's on one of the drones, Ed. They beamed her up.
Yeah, I went down. Listen, Jeff, you know, I get it. Okay, let me just say this to you real quick. I'm a licensed drone operator commercial for 8 years, all right, operating drones, all right? And I've been watching the story evolve, and people go, well, it could be the military, it could be UFOs. Let's cover the UFO, then we're going to go to the shooting aspect and one other thing, and I'll tell you what I think. But as far as the UFOs, let's think about this for a second. Do you think somebody from another planet's going to come here with navigational lights on a piece of equipment flying around outside that have wing propellers that sound like drones? If they're capable of coming that far across space, I doubt they have propellers, and I doubt they put navigational lights on their UFO, shall we say. But anyways, let's move on. The other more important issue here is people saying, well, let's just shoot it down, shoot it down, shoot it down. Well, as a licensed drone operator, I can tell everybody, and this is very important, never shoot a gun into the sky. It's a federal law. You shoot a gun at any moving object in the sky, it's considered federal aviation space or whatever, airspace and whatever else have. You will go to jail. All right, because the other problem is when you shoot a bullet up into the sky, It goes up, it comes down, has the same potential of coming down and shooting somebody or going through a window, a house, or whatever, and injuring people as well. So as far as shooting it down, don't ever go that way, okay? As far as why the government hasn't been able to track it down, well, we all know the government's kind of like inept these days underneath the Biden administration. But by the time they spot it, and they get someone out there to take a look at it and stuff like that, it's gone, or they say it turns its lights off. Drones, depending upon the angle you're flying a drone at, they do have navigational lights on them, but if I turn my drone in the sky a certain way, you won't see the navigational lights head on. Like a plane, it depends upon, you look at a plane flying in the sky and you see the navigational lights, but then you don't at a point of time. As far as speed, due to the altitude, based upon like you see a jet flying overhead at 30,000 feet, I can't tell you if it's going 500 miles an hour or 700 miles an hour. Everything is in perspective to what you believe, you think you're seeing and stuff like that. You with me, Jeff? I'm with you, Ed. My question to you is, from what I'm hearing, it's not that these members of Congress or state lawmakers are saying, get Joe Blow on the back of his porch to shoot down the drone. They want either the Department of Defense to do it or the FBI to do it. I mean, whoever, the FAA to do it. In other words, they want someone responsibly to take the drone out. And number two, Ed, have you ever seen a drone? We've got less than a minute, Ed. A drone of that size, like the one I just saw that the guy sent me, it looks like a fighter jet out of Star Wars. I'm serious. I mean, they're 6 to 8 feet. That thing is huge. Final word to you, Ed. Real quick, you said you would like to buy one, have one, whatever. Do we have the technology? Yes, they do sell them. You can buy one right now, Jeff. What they're flying. I've seen the videos of these drones flying around out there. Really? So that big? Okay. Well, geez, Ed, I wish we had more time. Okay, so Ed is basically saying we have the technology and let's not get carried away and let's not get overly excited about this. Interesting. Look, this story's not going anywhere. I promise you. I gotta go. Bye-bye.